is going on, guys? It's your boy Q Carnage here today, and today I got a gameplay and commentary for you guys. And as you can see, this gameplay is going to be from another competitive scrim. This is kind of an old gameplay I left out in the back. Just stuff that I have saved away, put in files and stuff like that. But I have some GB stuff, live com stuff that's going to be going up soon, hopefully, and we'll see. I don't usually put my GB matches up until like a couple days, couple weeks later. Just because I won't say competitive advantage, but you know, our strats are always evolving and changing, and you know, the team would rather have our strats kept to a secret, even though they're pretty obvious strats in my opinion. But anyways, getting into the kind of the topic of discussion, and there's two things I'm going to talk about today. A being the viability of the IMR. From my standpoint, and maybe a little bit of Mike's. Mike might agree and or disagree. I think the IMR is one of those guns that is very up for debate right now, and it has, you know, a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of mixed opinions. And I'm just saying it's because you're coming from an AR-minded player. And the second thing is whether Cloak and Stim needs to go. So, going on, the IMR in competitive play, I think it does suit the competitive environment. I think it's a very viable gun. I think it can do a lot of good, and I think it's definitely a playable weapon. And I think there's a few proponents why I haven't steered the gun already, and I haven't steered away from the barrel because I have some off days and some on days with the barrel. I mean, it's also connection. It's also partly everyone using Stim, which sucks butt. And that also, I'm kind of like the ASM1 because just how a lot of the hit registration just feels a lot better than the bow with it in a lot of situations. But going on forward, I think is the best way. The IMR is statistically just exactly like the M8, and it's one of those guns I gravitated to first when Advanced Warfare came out, that and the bow, obviously. But there's two things that I've noticed that even in a competitive setting that's very, very easy to notice, at least from my standpoint, and from using the M8 for so long in Black Ops 2, was that I was always the guy that always used the burst weapon with a pistol. There's very seldomly a few times where I use like a lightweight extreme conditioning class of Black Ops 2 and fast hands trophies to hit hard points and throw down trophies right off the rip, getting to cutoffs and stuff like that. Or like I would use double nade, double stun, you know, stun nade, you know, whatever you want, whatever the ladder is. But with that said, a lot of these times I would use a pistol class. I would always use the BR, the burst, the 3-round burst from Black Ops 2 with my M8, and I try to translate that over into Advanced Warfare. I know it's two different games on a very broad spectrum, but the point what I'm trying to make is that a lot of the times, and even in gunfights with, say for instance, like the IMR, you're not going to hit every burst. I know I can be a 2-burst god some days. Yeah, but in all realistically, say for instance, like I get into 2 gunfights, right? And I win them, and I'm low on ammo, and I'm trying to reload, and someone kind of rushes up on me. A lot of the times, especially for me, or even like, you know, hitting a cutoff point or hitting like a small chokehold where a burst weapon is not gonna be that good against like a fully automatic ASM1 or something like that. I always had a pistol to help me out, even if the gunfight was in their favor. I had a better chance hitting these chokeholds, you know, these small cutoffs with a pistol, like a burst pistol that I could just hose them down real quick. I'm not using Cat 40 for example because Cat 40 was pretty fucking unfair. But I'm using all the examples I'm going to be using are going to be fair, even, you know, balanced one-on-one examples. But with that said, I think the biggest thing that I have with it is that I can't find the right pistol. And you look at the pistols in this game, like the Grok is a 2-round burst. I think there was another one, I forget what it's called. It's kind of like the Cat 40. It's you know, fully automatic. And then there's the RW1, which is a one shot, one kill kind of a gun. And then there's the Atlas, which is a single fire pistol. So I want to get into the Atlas. The Atlas is not that good. It's really low damage, at least from what I've seen playing around with the game. It can be inconsistent too. I think the cock up of the barrel is a big thing. The RW1 is a really good pistol. Problem is that if you miss that shot, you're going 900% of the time you are going to die. unless you get out of there somehow. But if you're like dead ass in a gunfight and you miss that one bullet, you're dead. You're just done. The Grok and this automatic pistol, I forget what it's called. The automatic pistol it's very low damage, and I think it's not that good. And then the Grok also suffers the same, very low damage. Again, I don't have the stats in front of me, but this is basically from a subjective minded view, since using all the pistols. Like, I played around with them in pubs a little bit. I just can't find a pistol or a secondary, for that matter, that I would think works good. I think there's other things to compensate. I've been using double nades, but again, just fiddling around, just kind of in a think tank with it. But the pistol issue does kind of present itself. I think the other thing with the IMR, I think the issue it has is that since this game is high movement, high mobility, it has problems tracking sometimes. Like, a lot of times you'll be in, like, other games, burst weapons are easier to use because you're usually tracking left and right. Now you gotta track up, down, diagonal, all that. It's hard to track and hit targets that are that are moving all over the place, if that's the better word. If you're getting in the gunfight, like a strafe gunfight, you have to time your burst right. Like, say for instance, like, you have to time the burst going up and then the shot going down. It's literally the best way I can say it. And I think I'm still trying to master that up-down kind of relationship as far as, you know, trajectory of your shots and all that, and how it works. And then a lot of times you'll lose your strafe gunfights. You'll lose gunfights to people strafing into you. So it's going to be one of those things that's going to take time and practice to really get down before I can completely disregard the IMR. But with that said, moving forward, I think it does have a place. Again, there's certain things I want to work on. Will I pick the bow if I'm shitting the bed? Of course. I'm going to go to the bow almost 99.9% of the time. But with all that said, I think there's a bigger pressing issue as well, even though this is taking up most of the commentary. And that's the issue of Cloak and Stim should get banned. As far as Cloak, in my honest opinion, I can deal with it. In close quarters, Cloak isn't that good. At long distances, I say when getting crossed, you're not going to see someone with Cloak on. You're barely going to see him. And I think that's the issue that people are having, that Cloak kind of minimizes certain games and certain fundamental situations into very close quarters, like rough and tumble gunfights, and which isn't a bad thing on a spectator end. It's not a bad thing, but on a competitive end, it's not necessarily healthy. And do I believe Stim needs to get banned? Not necessarily, but do I think other people would agree that it does need to get banned? I'd absolutely would say yes. It's one of those things that can be very unfair. Like, for example, like my strat for Detroit is Cloak overcharge with a shotgun into hospital. It's literally my go-to strat because I can cross on defense. I can cross without a sniper seeing me. On offense, when I get, a lot of times they'll hit hospital before I can get there, and they won't see me get into that building, or, like, you know, zooming back and forth like exo moving. So again, in the context of that, yeah, I think it should, but I don't think it's necessarily the pressing issue right now. What I think is the pressing issue is fucking Stim. I haven't scrimmed much with Stim because I feel like a scumbag if I do, but there are games I played with Stim, and you can break hills with it. You can break hills with Stim. You can just run through hills with Stim. And I don't think you guys understand the importance of that it's such an advantage having Stim while trying to break a hill. You can also say on the flip side, like, oh, you can have Stim too, but usually you only use Stim to break hills. And usually by the time you get in the hill, your Stim has run out or, you know, completely depleted. So by the time you have to rehold a hill, your opponent's probably gonna have Stim again. And I think the best example is that why I personally don't like Stim. If you guys have never played uplink before, when you get the ball in uplink, you get a shield. You get a shield which pretty much gives you like added health. If you have Stim on, you're a walking tank. There's times I was shooting at a guy with the ball with Stim, and I just would not want to die. I'd put like a whole clip, and he just didn't want to just drop. And you can say, oh, well, you're probably missing shots, which you might be absolutely correct, but when I'm seeing I'm getting 7, 8, 9, 10 hit markers with a guy with the ball, with the ball shield and the stim, it's kind of deflating it almost. It's kind of disappointing when you're just like, this is what I'm losing to, and it's not a fair advantage. In most gunfights, it's like anyone with stim in the gunfight, it's going to win, no matter how good your gun skill is. I mean, trust me, you're going to win a couple, but you're not going to win you're not going to win a good percentage where you're like, oh, stim isn't a problem, stim isn't worth it. You're going to realize that it is a fucking problem. But anyways, guys, I think I'm just going to wrap this up. I think stim's a problem. I think Cloak's probably up there, but not quite yet. And I think the IMR needs a little work. I think we just need to define meta, and we'll just run with that. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a good day. I just had some Chipotle. The itis might be kicking in, so I'm just going to get the fuck out. Alright, guys, you have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.